and then, well, the legacy you leave behind when it's all over.
Exactly. And it's a story that really hits home, especially in Nigeria, but even beyond, I think. Mohbad's life, tragic as it was, it says a lot about what young artists go through these days, the good and the bad.
Okay, so for anyone listening who maybe hasn't heard of Mohbad, can you give us like a quick rundown of his music and like what made him stand out?
Yeah, so he was this incredible force in Nigerian street pop. Think like super energetic, raw, it pulls in Afrobeat, hip hop, and then like this whole layer of local slang and street talk.
Okay, so it's like really rooted in the streets, the culture there.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's the sound of Lagos, Yeah. It's about the hustle, the dreams, the struggles of everyday life in Nigeria. And Mohbad, he was a master at capturing all of that.
And he knew it firsthand, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't just sing about it, he'd actually lived that life.
That's exactly it. The articles you sent, they all talk about his tough early years, like growing up in the streets of Lagos, even being homeless for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough, but he had this raw talent, this undeniable energy. There's this quote from a producer who worked with him early on. He said, Mohbad's music was raw, powerful, and full of hunger.
Full of hunger, man, that's powerful. And I bet that really resonated with people, especially coming from where he did.
Yeah, there's a realness and authenticity in his music that you just can't fake, and it shines through in his lyrics. He's talking about the things people face every day, the grind, the hope, the disappointments, and people connected with that because it was real, it was lived experience.
So how did he go from, those tough beginnings to becoming like a major star? Was there like a big break or something?
Well, there were definitely some key moments that kind of launched him forward, like his single Imol, that track just blew up, became like a street anthem, everyone was singing it, and then he started doing collabs with bigger names like Naira Marley.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah.
So it's like this upward trajectory, each step bigger than the last.
Yeah, and you can see how that hunger, that drive that we talked about, it really pushed him to make the most of every opportunity. He wasn't handed anything, he earned it.
But even with all that success, the stuff you sent, it suggests things weren't always easy, right? Like, even at the top, there were problems.
Unfortunately, yeah. Some of the articles talk about this contract dispute he had with his old label, Marlian Records. It got pretty messy, legal battles, public arguments, the whole thing.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, and you can hear the impact of those conflicts in his music, too. Some of his later lyrics, there's this undercurrent of betrayal, of struggling against the system, the industry itself.
Man, that's tough. To be going through all that, especially so young, it makes you wonder about the pressure these young artists are under,
For sure. It's easy to forget they're human beings, too. Just because they have fame and money doesn't mean they're immune to the stress, the mental and emotional toll it all takes.
And some of the articles even touch on Mohbad's mental health struggles. Like there was that time he posted on social media, really crying out for help, expressing fear for his safety. It was heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, that was a really difficult time. And it raises this bigger question of how the industry supports its artists, especially when they're vulnerable, when they're struggling.
Exactly. Like, is there enough of a safety net, enough resources for artists who are going through tough times? Mohbad's story seems to suggest maybe not.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there. We need to create an environment where artists feel safe to speak up, to seek help, without worrying about their careers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what's striking is that even with all this going on, his music never lost its power. Even when the lyrics got darker, there was still this sense of resilience, this refusal to give up.
Right, like no matter what life threw at him, he kept pushing, kept creating. And I think that's what makes his legacy so powerful. He showed people that even in the face of struggle, you can find your voice. You can make art that matters.
Yeah, it's inspiring and a little bit heartbreaking too, knowing how it all ended. But like you said earlier, his story isn't over. Right?
No, it's not. His music is still out there. It's still touching people, inspiring them. And I came across this quote from a fan and it just stuck with me. They said, Mohbad's music taught me to keep pushing, even when things get tough. He never gave up and neither will I.
Wow. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it?
It does. And I think, going forward, it's on all of us, the fans, the industry, everyone, to make sure his legacy continues to inspire change, to make the music world a place where talent can flourish, not just survive. What about you, listener? What part of Mohbad's story resonated most with you?
It's hard to pick just one thing, but I think for me, it's that spirit, that refusal to be silenced. He used his voice no matter what, and that's something we can all learn from.
I agree. His story is a reminder that music has the power to move us, to challenge us, and to inspire us. And in a world that can feel increasingly dark, that's a message we all need to hear.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was heavy, but important.
Yeah.
And I think we've just scratched the surface of Mohbad's legacy. There's so much more to explore, so much to learn from his life and his music.
Definitely. And for everyone listening, I encourage you to dive in, check out his music, read more about his journey. It's a story that will stay with you.
And who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to create something yourself, to find your own voice and share it with the world.
There you go. That's the spirit. All right, folks, that's it for our deep dive this week. Until next time, keep the music playing and keep those conversations going.
Keep searching, keep exploring.
And most importantly, keep creating.
We'll catch you on the next
Mohbad, you didn't follow me. And you come with me. Even if not 10 minutes. Me, I'm a ghetto. Mosirajilo moto. My grace in the auto, automatic.